Happy Friday. Pop quiz. It somewhat. If you get lit up on this, I'm gonna allow you to retake it. Today we're learning about the foreign policy of Teddy Roosevelt. There's going to be a few things that I've got posted on the announcements here shortly. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a speech. Me talking. Wow. You guys want me to be president or whatever? Fine. This is what it would be like. I am no Teddy. Either way, what I am going to read to you is a speech made by Mr. Roosevelt, which is what is called a corollary to something that, if you've been in U.S. history, you know or should know what the Monroe Doctrine is. And the reason why I'm doing this pop quiz is because your test, a lot of it is going to be analyzing primary sources like this one. So the primary source is the Roosevelt corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, and it really does represent that picture right there. And a lot of what we've done recently has been to do with pictures, whether it's yellow journalism, the political cartoons, Gilded Age stuff, that sort of thing. So this picture right here really does a great job of portraying Roosevelt's ideas about foreign policy, how to deal with other countries. And you will have a homework assignment when you're done here with this one. It's an ed puzzle about the Russo-Japanese War. Russia and Japan duke it out, and Roosevelt's going to come in and be like, hey guys, settle down. Either way, here it is. The background here: in 1823, President James Monroe delivered his annual message to Congress. It articulated the Monroe Doctrine, a warning to countries in Europe not to use their power to send armies and navies into North and South America. On December 6, 1904, President Theodore Roosevelt reiterated this warning in another message to Congress. The Roosevelt corollary said that the United States had the right to assist its Latin American neighbors in conflicts with Europe. At the time, Santo Domingo, now the Dominican Republic, owed money to France, Italy, and Germany. The U.S. intervened on the country's behalf, sending Marines into Santo Domingo in 1904. The country allowed the U.S. to supervise the repayment of its debts. The following is an excerpt from President Roosevelt's 1904 message to Congress. Now I get to do my best Teddy Roosevelt impression. I hope I'm as ecstatic as I was yesterday. No way. Foreign policy is a lot less, because it's not around us. And yes, that is close to us. That train crash is close to us. You know who you are. Either way, here we go. To the Senate and House of Representatives. We are in every way trying to help with friendly goodwill, every movement which will tend to bring more friendly relations with the rest of mankind. It is not true that the United States feels any land hunger. There are no projects as regards the other nations in North and South America except those that are for their welfare. All that this country desires is to see the neighboring countries stable, orderly, and prosperous. Any country whose people act well can count upon our hearty friendship. If it keeps order and pays its debts, it need fear no interference from the United States. Property of the United States must be protected. Repeated wrongdoing or weakness which results in trouble for the people in a country may require America to do something to help. In North and South America, the United States follows the Monroe Doctrine, which may force the United States to use international police power when there is wrongdoing or weakness. If every country washed by the Caribbean Sea would show the progress seen in Cuba, all question of interference by this nation with their affairs would be at an end. The Platt Amendment has helped Cuba become independent once again. So many of the countries in both Americas are stable and showing progress. Our interests and those of our southern neighbors are in reality identical. They have great natural riches, and if there is justice and the rule of law is followed there, they will be rich and prosperous. While they thus obey the primary laws of civilized society, they will have our helpful understanding. We would interfere in their affairs only when we had no other choice. The rights and property of the United States must be protected. It is a mere truth to say that every nation, whether in America or anywhere else, which desires to maintain its independence, must ultimately realize that the right of such independence cannot be separated from the responsibility of making good use of it. We follow the Monroe Doctrine as steps were taken to protect Cuba, Venezuela, and Panama, and to avoid the theater of war in the Far East and China. In doing so, we acted in our own interest as well as in the interest of humanity at large. There are, however, cases in which, while our own interests are not greatly involved, strong appeal is made to our sympathies. Ordinarily, it is very much wiser and more useful for us to concern ourselves with striving for our own betterment here at home than to concern ourselves with trying to better the condition of things in other nations. We have plenty of sins of our own to war against. Under ordinary circumstances, we can do more for the general uplifting of humanity by striving with heart and soul to put a stop to civic corruption, to brutal lawlessness and violent race prejudices here at home than by passing resolutions about wrongdoing elsewhere. Action may be justifiable. Nevertheless, there are some crimes committed that are so terrible and which make us doubt whether it is our clear duty to help. The cases must be extreme in which such a course is justifiable. There must be no effort made to remove the tiny speck from our brother's eye if we first don't remove the larger piece from our own. But in extreme cases, action may be justifiable and proper. What form the action shall take must depend upon the circumstances of the case. It must depend upon the degree of the atrocity and upon our power to remedy it. The cases in which we could interfere by force of arms as we interfere to put a stop to harsh conditions in Cuba are very rare. Yet it is not to be expected that a people like ours that have very obvious shortcomings still believes in the principles of civil and religious liberty and of orderly freedom. A nation should desire eagerly to give expression to its horror on an occasion like that of the massacre of the Jews in Russia. It should feel likewise when it witnesses such systematic and long extended cruelty and oppression as that of which the Armenians have been the victims. Even where it is not possible to secure in other nations the observance of principles which we accept as clearly seen and understood, it is necessary for us to insist upon the rights of our own citizens. They must be protected without regard to their creed or race, without regard to whether they were born here or abroad. And that is the Roosevelt corollary. So answer the questions in the quiz now. I'll give you the code. Good luck with that. And don't forget to watch the video about a significant war that Teddy Roosevelt comes in and essentially polices. Walk softly, carry a big stick.